What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a great day. Here to talk some weather. Things continue to look slow, like I've mentioned in the last few videos. Not a ton to talk about, but we're going to continue to monitor what looks to be another pattern change towards the end of the month, and really what looks to be a change to more of a setup for more severe weather across a large area of the country. So we're going to take a peek at that. We're going to look at what we got in front of us and talk about some things here, and just keep y'all updated daily like I told y'all I would. So definitely hit that subscribe button. Growth is very slow right now. There's just not a whole lot going on. As mentioned before, like the video, and for everyone who continues to watch my videos, even when things are slow, committed, it's much appreciated. This has kind of became a thing I do now. So keeping y'all updated is I enjoy doing it because I love the weather, and it's definitely something that I'm going to continue on doing even when it is slow. So let's get going with this. So we're going to look at the National Weather Service, the Climate Center here, 6 to 10 days out. So that's April 21st to the 25th. Still predicted to be below average all the way pretty much through right now through about the 25th, 24th, just depending on where you are. Now, when you see this, it's not crazy below average, especially if you're in the southeast, the Carolinas, Georgia. You're still getting days in the 60s and 70s for highs, so you're getting typical spring weather, but maybe a tick cooler than average. You look at the 8 to 14 day range, and that's starting to get close to the May time period, starting to get to the last couple of days of this month, and you start to lose that cooler than average air. And to me, any above average temperatures, even average temperatures, especially above average temperatures, signifies a threat for at least some storms. You need a lot of other things to come together too. Not a lot, but you need other things to come together too to create an environment favorable for severe weather or just storms in general. But obviously, a trough in the east means you're not going to really get a lot of severe weather. You're not going to get a lot of chances of moisture in the eastern U.S. And I tell you, here at my location, we hadn't even had 1/10 of an inch of rain for the month of April. We've had a few 1/100ths of an inch, I think 0.01, so not even 1/10 of an inch. So it's been very dry here so far. Other parts of the state have not. They've lucked out from the last few systems. So we're going to look at the operational GFS. It's the latest one. Check out the swirl going on here, the low pressure up here in the northeast. It's actually snowing in parts of the northeast right now in the higher terrain. But this is going to be a pretty significant winter storm, a snowstorm for the interior northeast. I don't think it's not quite going to get all the way to the big cities, but who knows, they might get a burst of heavy snow at the end. No significant accumulations for places like Boston or things like that, but it's a pretty significant storm. You actually look at the predicted snowfall for the National Weather Service for the interior northeast, and look at the interior areas in the higher elevations, well over a foot of April snow, mid-April snow. So look closer to Boston, no snow expected. But inland in Massachusetts, watch out, especially if you're above 1,000 to 2,000 feet, especially several inches of heavy wet snow is going to fall. I'm not sure what the leaf foliage looks like up there right now as far as how many leaves are on the trees, but if there's a lot, then obviously you're going to risk power outages and things like that. But if we jump back to the GFS, we're getting into early next week. First off, this weekend, we're going to watch a low pressure, and I know a lot of people aren't going to be wishing this, but I'm hoping this thing trends northwest a little bit. Like I said, my location could use more than a few 100ths of an inch of rain. It would be nice. But we'll watch that. I think that's definitely going to deliver rain for areas of the deep south, like the Gulf Coast and things like that, where the dew points and things like that will remain high. And I'll show you that too. And you get a little upper level low that kind of swings through, but it doesn't do much. It could bring a burst of moisture early next week. But this little wave along a big time trough has been showing up here. Around this time of the year, you're supposed to be getting severe thunderstorms in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, but this is showing a stripe of rain and snow. It's been showing up consistently for the last few days, so we'll watch that. And it's kind of it's kind of like a piece of the northern stream basically interacting with the trough and creating energy, and almost creates an overrunning kind of event. But we'll watch that. It's going to have to come down pretty hard for that to come down as snow. But we'll watch to see another low pressure. What's going to happen here in the southeast is a lot of things are going to get suppressed because you have troughs that are digging down. And it really, anything in the southern stream, as in low pressures at the Gulf or anything, will not have any area to cut because you have a trough digging. When you have a trough digging, it influences the directional flow of the southern stream. So basically, you're not going to get a low pressure to really ride much north when you have a big old trough digging right here early next week. So this will kind of reinforce the cooler air for the eastern U.S., but it won't stay long. As you get into next week, late next week, this is what we've been talking about, a time frame to watch for severe weather. So we'll watch this area. Look at this area right here. It's 216 hours out, so it's next weekend, so it's about 7 to 8 days out. But next weekend is definitely a time frame to watch. If we're going to trend up or we're going to trend down in the next several days, especially as we get into the weekend early next week. How are we going to trend for this event? So I think there will be some kind of big system next weekend. So if you got any plans or anything like that, definitely monitor the weather forecast, your local weather forecast, and obviously my videos, because this could either be just a good old rainstorm or it could be a severe weather event. So we're definitely watching that. You look at the European run here, if we can get it to pull up. There's not much different. You got a big time interior northeast snowstorm building this tonight into tomorrow. You have a system, low pressure, that tries to trend and make areas wetter here in the southeast a little bit further north. We'll see how that happens. A little upper level low that flexes through here. Won't do much. And then here comes the big time trough. It's showing up on the European model too. The big time cold front. Every time I say trough, I mean cold front. This is going to put Denver in another April snowstorm. I think they're getting snow either ongoing right now or in the next couple of days, but this could actually bring snow all the way to Amarillo, Texas, into the panhandle of Texas. So it's very interesting to see how that actually unfolds. But this gets through, and then it gets to the time of uncertainty here. We try to figure out what happens here with this system. But I'll tell you what, the European today isn't as scary looking as far as severe weather as the European yesterday. And it has the low pressure going a little bit further south, so it's not cutting anymore, and it's not really putting larger areas in the more worrisome side of the storm, the basically the moist sector, the warm sector of the storm. So we'll watch to see how that unfolds. But look at the GFS ensembles here, and it gives us a good idea of where the troughs are, where's the ridging, and basically we're just going to be consistently getting troughs over the next several days until we get into this time next week. Then we get rid of it, and you notice that little notch right here that's trying to tell us that there may be some kind of cutoff low right here. And obviously you have to watch this section of these cutoff lows for severe weather. So we're still, even the GFS ensembles, with the operational runs, you have to watch next weekend for some kind of system. I really think there's going to be something. What that something is, we just don't know. It's too far out. But last thing I'm going to show you in this video, and then we're going to go on and be done with this, because I don't want to overly talk about things that we just don't really know about, honestly. But this is dew points. Like I've mentioned before, dew points are a good indication. To me, dew points are, huge indicators of what pattern you have in place, especially say in the summer, late summertime, early fall, when you're trying to get that first cool, crisp fall air mass. You look at dew points to really find those cooler air masses, especially in the southeast when we're baking with dew points in the 60s and 70s. It's very moist, very humid out there, and then all of a sudden you start to get into the medium range. You start to see maybe a potential cold front bringing dew points back down into the 50s. It's the first things you start to look at. Well, it's the same thing as severe weather season, especially when you're trying to sniff out a severe weather event or either look for the next one. Notice dew points in the 40s, the 30s, 20s across the eastern U.S. that indicates a very stable air mass. You don't have a whole lot going on. But you notice, and you're going to get brief flexes with it too, that might get a little bit more humid some days. So this is good because we're going to have no threats of severe weather over the next week. It also makes for beautiful spring weather. It's going to be crisp outside. It's not going to be very hot. And it's just going to have, depending on where you are, temps in the 60s, the 70s, potentially 80s, but with low humidity. Unless you're in the tip of Florida, you're going to have a tropical air mass regardless down there. But as you get into late next week, so maybe Thursday into Friday, check out Texas. Dew points begin to flex into the 60s and 70s. To me, that's telling us, and this is just the GFS, that's telling me there's some kind of system. It's tugging moisture out the Gulf, and high dew points, high humidity, high moisture feeds is an ingredient for severe weather. So we'll watch this because it's showing up right here, and it goes all the way into the southeast, and then actually another cool down behind it. But after you get past that, you start to get more and more higher moisture levels begin to take over. But this is pretty far out. It's 300 plus hours out. But that's all I got, guys. It's not a whole lot to talk about. There's nothing to really latch on to as far as an event. But we're still out there. Just enjoy the spring weather while it's around, because quiet weather will not last forever. But thank you all for tuning in. Y'all have a great evening.